Good morning, sunshine. So, the next piece, as you can see, lots of damage. Sides. There's some damage on the veneer at the end. It's kind of hard to see with the light coming in. Lots of chips in the veneer, lots of markings, lots of damage to the sides. And yes, for those who like to say, I could repair it. I could repair it, but I know painted. Hi. It's gonna sell. And it hasn't sold. And it's been here a little while. It's time for this baby to get a new home. It's like taking in a foster kitten or a foster dog. We're gonna clean it. We're gonna feed it. We're gonna love it. We're gonna give it new life, and then we're gonna find it a new home so it can be treasured for all the years to come that it deserves. Great piece. Let's see what we can do. Hey everybody, I'm here working on this piece. I just did a video of it and all the damage. I'm going to be using Dixie Belle Sea Glass with my oval medium and my mini brush. Looking for it. I know it's here. Yep. Anyways, I'm going to get started. Hopefully I won't be too much in your way. I'm trying to see. Well, yeah, I'm in your way. Let's sit here on the ground and just start. Just know this has been professionally cleaned. Woo, you should see the pictures, the rags and the water, even after it had been cleaned a couple of times. You have to really clean that off and get that residue off. Amazing amounts of gunk. Okay, this has been sitting a while in the store. It's lovely. People love it, but it is just a tad sad enough that people are like, oh, I don't know, something's wrong with it. So let's cheer it up with some sea glass to start with. So, this, I left the drawers in, amazing, and I did take the handles off. I know many of you will be super excited to hear that part, because you get mad at me when I don't. Again, I don't have my rolling wheels here that I have at the other place I paint there. I'm going to turn it so I can get in there. I'm just dipping straight into the jar of sea glass, and I am going over all these veneer issues, and I have to turn my brush several different ways to get that veneer that's missing and the chips to soak up this paint appropriately in the manner that it needs to be done. This drawer is super tight, always has been, always will be. I'm going to shape it down a little bit. I already have a little bit. I used my sandpaper and some other tools to see if it would shimmer down, and if I shimmy the top and the bottom, sometimes I get the drawer to go easy, and this one, even after a good 20 minutes of that, is still not behaving. So when I paint it, I realize that when it does get open, this ledge right here, because it's going to be so tight, is going to offload paint. So it's not going to be perfect. When I know a project is going to have some not perfect issues, I'm okay with that knowledge, and don't let it get to you. Not every piece is going to be that factory perfect look that you guys like. If you like that look, probably in the wrong place. But this will be a very adorable seaside, this is a sea glass, cutesy, beautiful piece. And some people, yes, would use this as a china cabinet. I would suggest put your fancy purses, your fancy shoes. You could even put your record collection and put some of the better collection up there facing out. So this is going to be a showcase for whatever you love in your life. Your kids' photos, your cooking, your kitchen, Pyrex collectibles, anything, even if it's a wardrobe. You could, like I said, put your purses and shoes in there. Your cameras, you can collect cameras. This could be your camera display. And then of course, with all this great storage below, you can put all kinds of stuff below here. It could also be, of course, a bar. So, I'm gonna add some water to get this to really go. This piece is one of the typical mid-century pieces that just could not hold on to its veneer, and it needs a new life. And normally I might go with the dark. Thought about going with black or dark blue in the navy, Bunker Hill blue, something like that. But as I was looking through my collection of paints that I already had open, I saw this color and thought, of course, me, this is happy. This is a happy color. And then, once I get this on there, if I don't like it, I can always take those other colors and accent it and make it a myriad of colors, which really pops into these pieces. I think, though, it's going to just be sea glass with some accents of maybe some limeade and some other fresh and happy colors. But you never know. By the time I get done, it could be red. It probably won't be red, but you never know. So just know when you're getting a piece started, it's okay to change your mind. Let the piece talk to you. Just like I was saying in the earlier video, it's like fostering kittens or dogs. You're rescuing. You're a rescue mama. And you're rescuing this piece. And as you start to feed it, maybe the kitten or dog doesn't like certain treats, but it likes other things. Each piece will tell you its personality. As weird and hippy-go-dippy that sounds, it's so true. And if you let your mind accept what is instead of what you think it should be, you'll have a greater time, you'll have a better turnout, and I think that's true for life in general. Alright, this is probably the hardest part right here, is getting into all these crooks and, I always say it, crooks and nannies. All of these nooks and crannies with this shuttered part. So you just get that on there, and all those insets. That's why I chose the oval medium on this part as opposed to just using the mini brush. The oval medium is tapered a little bit. Not tapered, sorry, it's oval, so it has a different hole pattern and it really gets in all those little crevices. Alright. I did clean this, I did sand this. What I did not do is I did not add a primer. This piece possibly will bleed through with the tannins. And I'm using a light color, so it's even more likely that it will bleed through, but I'm taking a chance to look at it and see. So far, we're okay, but you can get all the way through until the end piece where you're going to seal it, and those tannins can show through. So it's better to go ahead and use Boss on this piece. Boss, because that blocks odor stains and seals it, so Boss would be the one, not Slick Stick. Slick Stick is for when you're painting on glass or super slicky metal and other type items. Now, even though this is wood in some places, some of the other places is that really faux, almost bamboo-like looking veneer, which I think is what I'm painting right now, this little side part. So it takes the paint a little bit differently in each spot. And yes, I took the handles off the drawers, but I left those really cool handles over there, those decorative ones you still see on there. Because one, they're really hard to remove, but you know, I can do that, that's not a problem. And two, I can paint around it. Just as easy to paint around about it is to move it, for me. Alright, one coat there. Now I'm going to work on this side. Switch over. I do not have my little rolling seat thing I usually sit on. So we're going to scooch, scooch, scooch over. I am going to reach across where I saw a little spot. Usually I have this raised up a little bit. So there, I saw a little spot underneath that I want to go ahead and catch right now before it's too late. It's never too late, but I want to go ahead and catch right now. Okay. The paint definitely is taking differently. Like I said, these side faux panels that are supposed to look like faux bamboo or whatever they had it set up to be, definitely taking the paint differently than the wood veneer on these drawers. This is just the first coat, so don't worry. Just get the paint on. Because this is a light color paint, it's definitely going to take 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 coats in some places. But the first coat is just to get a very good thin coat on. No in the way. I'm going to tilt this. Woo! There, a little bit better. Because of this inset, I've got to turn the brush and really get into those little crevices under the drawer. Yes, you can take the drawer out if you want. Like I said, these drawers are very, very tight, these particular 2 drawers. And it's easier to go ahead and paint them as they are, because I know it's going to pull the paint off no matter what here at the lower part. So it may as well be in its natural place. It's a good idea. Right. That looks like my hair. Even with cleaning. Just wipe it off. Use a t-shirt you can just wipe off on, so you don't have to go looking for a wipe off rag all the time. This is drying pretty quick. There's spots that I can tell. It is very humid today in Tallahassee. Tropical storm, possibly hurricane when it arrives. Cristobal is on its way. It's in the Gulf. It's already throwing some water and tons of humidity up on us, even though it's probably going to affect Louisiana and make landfall there. But we are on the east upper side, which is where we get the most rains and possible tornadoes. And it should be arriving tonight, but it's already causing some issues. If you ever want to watch Mike's weather page on Facebook. He's amazing with letting you know all the different weather forecasts that are coming in from the Bureau and all the other places. So you can see all the different spaghetti models. I'm kind of making a good guess based on those professionals. All right, getting there. Just a little bit water. I don't want to do too much water because I noticed it gets drippy in some places, but it's reacting differently. So we're going to go ahead and get the paint in the inset that you can't see from there. Then I'm going to go across this bar, feather that out a little bit, and then need another coat. I'm already thinking this piece, I was going to say she or he, I haven't decided. Sometimes I call them names just as I'm working on them. Just like when you rescue a dog or a cat, you probably come up with a name that suits them based on their personality or where you found them or how you rescued them. This one, I haven't decided yet. Yeah, It's really weird. It's taking the water, the misting of the water in some spots and almost becoming drippy, which is unheard of. In other spots, it is soaking it in. So it's definitely got some veneer issues that makes me think it was probably in a basement or a very humid location in its previous home. Which doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's just a little bit more work making sure you don't leave any drip marks. And you hardly have to worry about drip marks with Dixie Belle. Oh, okay, here's another hair. That's so crazy. Even after, just keep in mind, even after sanding, cleaning, and wiping down, there's always going to be lint, hair, what have you. A little bit more water. I am going to paint the top of this, the sides of this, in the same manner I'm doing right now. I'm just showing you the front, which is usually the most exciting part. When I start to paint the side, you guys are like, I don't need to see the side. There's nothing going on over there. So I don't bore you. Or you can fast forward to the parts you like to watch. Okay, because this OM brush is really tapered there at the end, I can get a nice, clean application against this decorative handle. And then if I get a little bit on there, just wipe it off. That's why I chose this brush over just the mini right now. There's several reasons why. The mini is my most used brush. That brush, I believe, is $40, and I have used it over a year now, maybe a year and a half, over hundreds and hundreds of products, and I'm still using it. So a good brush, if you've got a little bit of money to spend, is one of my favorite things to tell you to do. Before, I would have just said use a chip brush, which works, or a Dollar Tree brush, which works, and it worked for me for years. But when I switched over and spent a little bit more money on one brush, I realized it was cheaper than the Dollar Tree brushes because I got so many uses out of it, it ended up paying for itself. It was the same as buying, and less use because I wasn't throwing all those brushes away and reusing the same brush. So good for the environment. And then you get to know your brush really well. Sounds weird, I know, but you get to know it and work with it like any tool. Once you have a good tool makes all the difference. If you're just starting out and you can't afford a $40 brush, which I totally understand, that was me for many years, then use what you have, and that'll be fine as well. But if you can upgrade on one thing, the mini brush or the mini angle and the oval medium are my two used every time project brushes. Getting a little bit of paint on the floor, and it's okay because this is water-based. There's no smells. If you know, you've seen me paint before, no smells at all. No smells. So I love painting indoors with this, and because it's hitting the floor, I can just wipe it off with a little bit of elbow grease. Or you can wipe it up right now, and it comes right up because it's still damp. You can even let the kids help you with this because it's very little drip. Again, it's not harmful in any way. And if you get a little bit on the floor, it's easy to come up. And if you get it into your clothes, easy to get out if you go ahead and soak it, put it in the washing machine right away. Even up to like half an hour, I can get that stuff out. If you leave it on longer than that, believe it or not, you can use this as fabric paint. So after a good 24 hours, it's going to be on there pretty good. Finish this last little spot. I'm going to put a little bit more water on my brush because it's starting to drag a little bit. You'll know When it starts to pool a little bit, you know it's time for a little bit of water. And then it just glides. See how that glides now? Depending on where you are in America or in the world, in your humidity levels, or if you're inside with the AC running, or if it's in the middle of winter, those will make all the difference. Reasons why to add water or not to add water. And just go with it as you can tell. That inset. And it'll tell you if it starts to be a little, give you a little resistance, it's time for a little water. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm spraying my brush, getting to the end of this, and I have enough on the end of my brush that I'm going to get around this side of that inset. Using that tapered part of the OM brush. Oval medium is what OM is. Flange that out, but I don't want to give it too much effort because I want it to dry. This is definitely going to need 2 coats. Just getting a thin coat. Don't go thick, thinking you're going to get away with 1 coat. You can do that, and you can get away with 1 coat, and I do that when I'm doing those chunky, majorly distressed things, but with this, a little bit classier, and I'm going to give it a thin coat, and then I'm going to go back. There we have it. It's already screaming, take me home, I have a new life, I've been fed, I've been cleaned, I've been loved, I put a little weight on, I'm happy, now I'm going to bite you, because I'm a rescue dog, get it, the analogy, I'm going to love you, and bring you much joy in your home. So I'm going to continue to do this all over the piece, and then we'll decide. I think I'm going to leave the inside natural, because I like how the wood works with this color, sea glass. But you never know. I may paint the inside red, yellow, purple, gold, white, black, or leave it natural. Well, here he is. I decided while I was painting it, I told you a name would come to me. You still see it's wet on the side. Cristobal. Cristobal because right now it is raining because Cristobal, the hurricane or tropical storm, whatever it may be when it finally lands, is bringing rain, even though it's going to probably land in Louisiana. It is already Saturday morning throwing rain all over us, and it's so humid that this particular piece took a lot of extra work because of humidity levels. So I'm going to call it Cristobal, which could be a girl or a boy. It reminds me of Cristobal. It reminds me of Crystal, but Cristobal, I don't know. It could be a boy or a girl. This is sea glass. This is 2 coats, sorry, this is 3 coats of sea glass. And I did not paint the inset. And I don't know if I'm going to or not. I'm kind of digging the look with the wood. And yes, I will get this off. This is just on the glass. See, it's coming right off. It'll look better when that's cleaned up. So what do you think? Like, I don't know. This is not finished. This is just my stopping point for today. Gonna let it dry. 3 coats. It's already dried in between each layer, but I've got to go. They're opening up today 12 to 4, and I need to get out of here before all the peoples come. And I'm in the way painting. And again, luckily you can paint inside because there's no smells. So before, with like everyday household paint that you get in certain places meant for houses, it would be stinking up this place and I'd have a headache for days. Woo, this place is full. So many projects, so many finished pieces, so much fun, so much to see. And this is just the front gallery. And a lot of you who've shopped here don't even know this room exists, but the lights are off back there. There's so much to see. So much. So I will wish you adieu. Alright, so now I am working on the inset, and luckily we got the back off. Sometimes you can't get the back off without doing major damage, and so you have to do it with the back on. But luckily this piece screamed out something I've been trying to do, which is I'm going to add paper behind these back 2 shelves, and the bottom shelf will just be paint. But you have to paint all the insets, all the shelves, all the tops, all the bottoms, because you never know what angle the customer is going to have it in their house, or if they have a 2-story loft, a beach house, whatever, you want to make sure that you paint every part, sides, underneath, everywhere. So I am just laying on, yes, I'm blocking the view, I know, and it's hard because we're facing the outdoor of the store. And you'll hear the construction going on at the hotel. That's the beeping. So I'm just applying a very smooth first coat and make sure I get through the insets. And I might even be able to get behind there and check on it from behind so that I can see. But remember, your client's only going to see it from this angle, but you want to make sure, like I said, there will be a backing on this, so they won't be able to see through it anymore. But you do want to get all these insets, because if they're sticking this way, you can see, like over here, I've already done it, and I've missed a couple spots. So it's nice to have the back off and be able to do this. So I'm just starting here with the insets. The whole outside of the cabinet has already been done with 3 coats of sea gloss. This is also sea gloss. I was going to do a shocking red or yellow or green or even orange color on the insets of this, but the backing paper that's going to be on that back piece is a little shocking and a contrast, and so I don't want to scare people to the point where they're like, I am never going to put that in my house. All right, now I'm going to do this. Yes, I'm in the way. This is the lip of the underside, and you have to do that because it is viewable. Again, just do it all because it is viewable from all angles. They will see this, hence why I've got to do the tops, which is the underneath, and so this is taking up a lot of paint. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of getting into small corners and a lot of hand work, but I'm using my oval medium, and it's really getting into all these corners, all these little crevices. And again, this is just the first coat. You just want to get a really thin, nice, even coat. Let it dry, and then go back, and the second coat will be like magic. It'll just be like butter. It'll attach right to it. I did clean these the other day with the White Lightning. I did that when I was doing other stuff. And I wiped it down and rinsed it with water. It took about 7 times, just like my other project I worked on the other day, to get all the nicotine and all the residual gunk off. Because once you put the cleaner on, it comes off, but then you gotta take a washcloth, t-shirt rag, whatever, and put it in clear water and wipe it down, rinse it out, and until that water in that little bowl is clear, it doesn't come off. And it took about 7 times. Anytime there's nicotine involved, it takes a lot more work to get it clean. So, all right, I am going to turn this off and get to work. And as you see, I'm going to be doing the sides, the insets. I didn't do these when I first painted the cabinet because the glass doors were still on and the back was still on, and I hadn't made up my mind. So I left this inset unpainted in case I was going to do a different, funkier color. But now that I know what I am sold on, all of it has to be painted in the same color to really make that contrasting back gonna pop. All right, that's what I'm gonna be doing. This is gonna take me a little while. Good morning. So what I'm doing here, hi. Wow, yeah, you can tell I haven't had enough sleep. So this is the back panel to that piece over there. See how the back panel's taken off the part of the hutch? It is laying on the ground, and I'm going to be applying some paper to the top to hit those top 2 shelves, the backing of it. The bottom part will be showing, so it needs to be the same color as the cabinet. So I am painting, that's the first coat, the back of it. And then while that's drying, I'm going to go paint the insets of all that. Because when I put the back on, I don't want to paint and get stuff on it, because you'll see what I'm adding to it. Hopefully this works out. I'm going to be using clear coat satin to apply my backing paper So just know you can use that. There's another famous product that I love to say, I'm not going to say the name, that you can use your Dixie Belle clear satin, because you already have it for other projects, and use it just as well for a decoupage glue and sealer, and that's what we're going to use. So this is sea glass right here, this color, and the color down here, and that's the first coat. There's 3 coats on the cabinet already, and it's been drying for a day and a half. I am now applying the paper. I've already done the first little bit and then braid over it with my brayer. It's lifting a little bit because of the moisture in there. Tropical Storm Cristobal is not helping me. But don't freak out. Just keep on going. And then remember, trying to keep this in the position that I had it as I go across, because it's important it gets down to a certain place. So I'm going to take my Dixie Belle Clear Coat and Satin, my brush, and I'm going to dip in and apply liberally, just like you would a decoupage medium. All the way edges and out. I gotta go back across this way because we're going on raw wood. Yes, I'm reaching across. This is a big panel. It's like more than 4 feet by 3 feet, so working with decoupage in the beginning, it's better to use something a little bit less huge. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is bring my paper over, rolling it. I'm gonna flip back over. I'm trying to let it out. Yeah, good. So, gonna come across, working out those bubbles. Making sure. I am trying to keep the bottom part not covered because I want it to be on the piece. I want it to be shown through. So now I'm going to come across with my brayer. And it is crinkling, and that's gonna be okay. I'm either gonna leave it crinkled or I'm gonna use the iron method after it dries completely. I will take a clothing iron without steam on. Ooh, I want you to behave. And then I'm going to heat it up, put parchment paper between the wallpaper and the iron, and then I will gently heat up the iron and just go over it, and it'll reset what we would call the glue, which is the clear coat and satin. This is the part that I try not to freak out on. I start to freak out like, oh, it's bubbling, it's bubbling. And it also shrinks and moves a bit. So I've given it definitely extra space. Getting really close down there for where the hole. So now I'm gonna go pull it back up gingerly. Easier said than done with all this humidity. Of course, I just cut it in half. Roll it back till I know where it's attached. You can feel it pull. And then again, apply the clear coat satin. As if it's a glue, a decoupage glue. Get a really good coat on there going cross hatch to get into this, because this is a real wood panel that it's applying to. Feathering that out. The great thing about using this as a decoupage medium glue is you don't have any smells. Some of the decoupage items have a really strong glue smell, and this, because this Dixie Belle does not, because of the low VOCs. Okay, now just grab that way, let it adhere. So I should have covered it down there. Yep. I painted the other part with 2 coats of sea glass, because that's what my project is in. That's the coat that is on everything else. Cabinet, the shelves, the back of the cabinet right there that you'll be able to see. Try not to get the glue on your brayer. If you do, it's okay. Get some of these out while it's still damp. It is lifting in some places over here because it's bubbling. I'm working the bubbles, the air bubbles out towards the ends. The ends really do curl because that's the part where some people would put a heavy book or such to keep it on there. I want it to adhere the best that it can, which is one light coat. Sorry, one first coat. I don't really mean light because I put a good liberal amount. And I'm just trying to work out some of these creases with my brayer. Again, it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be crinkles, but like I said, all right, pulling back. Gonna do it again. What does that say? Oh, my phone is. I'm using my phone and it's giving me a message. Someone's sending me a message. Trying to get this on there very liberally. I am going to paint the bottom panel with this satin clear coat over the paint that I just did. I'm still letting that paint dry. But because it has a great sheen, I want it to match. I'm going to use the same satin. So I don't have to worry about getting, quote, decoupage glue on my part that's painted because it's going to be the same product. That's another great asset, doing it like this. Okay. Feathering it across, trying not to make any glops that would show up. Here we go again. Pull this down because I don't need it to cover that one part. It's scooting up. Oh, it's perfect. Okay, good. Now, pulling it out. Starting to get a little bit of crease again. Using my fingers. That's the other thing. It's called the finger method. You just use your fingers. And that's what I'm doing right here. I'm scooching it over. Remember to leave lots of excess. I've left a bunch here. It's like another 2 inches or more. You don't know how it's going to behave. If it's going to shrink up. If it's going to give you a little trouble. You can even wrap over when you get done, when this is all dried. Wrap this over, tack it down, or you can just simply cut it. This is going to be on the back of a cabinet, pretty far back where you won't be able to get nose to nose with it. You're going to be probably like 2 to 3 feet away from it at all times. So it's okay if you get some crinkles. Push that deep. Never wants to take right at the end because that's where it's. Okay, and I've scooched out. So this is where I'm just using a t-shirt to get some of the glue dried on the brayer. And I'm going to take a tissue and get this excess off down here. There. Now that tissue is wet. You do not want a dry tissue because then you'll get lint in your lower part. Okay. This is going to make you want to sit here all day and get these bubbles out, but let it go. Small steps. So we're going to continue going across. We've only got that much left. I know it's hard to see, just this much left. I should have started, or I should have moved the camera. I guess I could move the camera. Okay, here we go. Let's try not to get dizzy. That's not far enough back. Okay, of course. Excuse me. There. Now, this is the last part. You see this raw wood backing. I'm taking again, clear coat and satin, dipping in with my mini brush, pulling this back ever gently until I feel the tug, because that's where the last part was. Applying liberally the Decoupage medium glue, which is, luckily for us, our Dixie Belle clear coat and satin. I have tried it in flat and glossy, but for some reason, the satin tends to work best for me. I would try it out on all different things for yourself to figure it out, but this is just my personal preference over the years. Smoothing it out so there's no like globs. If I put too much in some parts, and I'm dabbing on the end because this wood is raw. Okay, and now, here we go again. So it looks super, super smooth, and then it starts to do its thing where it wrinkles up. And that's okay. Using the finger method to kind of work with it, get it out to the corners. That way I can feel the edge. There's the edge. And I'm gonna have to add some more underneath there. Taking my brayer. Hear it? Can you hear it? Now it's really bubbling up. It goes on lickety smooth and you're all excited, and then it bubbles up a bit. I have found that to be true with wallpaper, decoupage paper, napkins, everything. I find that it does that no matter what. Of course, being on a very, very humid day, I do not have air conditioning in this gallery, and I am drenched in sweat just doing this without even being out in the sun. Again, tropical storm Cristobal landed last night, and so there's a lot of humidity. There's some glue. I'm getting it on my brayer from the edge. I'm going to take my t-shirt, wipe that off. You can also use that wet paper towel. Just get some of that off. Use the other side that you used not to get the stuff on, as I used it to get the glue off the other part. Use my t-shirt to clean that off. Okay, so what do we do after this? I walk away from it. The edges are flaring a little bit, that's typical. I am going to go to my appointments, my meetings. It's Monday, we're closed today, and of course, usually means a day off, but nope. Come down here when nobody's here so I can sit in the middle of the floor of the gallery and make a mess. All right, so we are applied. There's a tendency to go ahead and cut it right now, but I want it to dry because it might shrink a little bit. I doubt it. This is heavy duty paper, but if you were to cut it right now and then it's off by just a tad, you're gonna really be upset with yourself. So, one thing I am gonna do, and I did this on the other side before I started filming, is I'm gonna just pull up just a little bit and hit these edges, because I can tell the edges there. Added some more clear coat, working as the glue. Smoothing with my hand. Then I'm going to take the brayer, get the edge, get those air bubbles out. Okay, not so bad. Right now it looks like a hot mess, but once it dries, and then we're going to use that, we're going to use the iron method to get the crinkles out. And while I have all this excess on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and paint a clear coat now that my paint's dry at the bottom with this leftover satin I have, so I'm not going to waste anything. That's what's so great, is you can use this for both things. Let's see if I can scoot this out again. Okay, now you see this bottom part is going to show, and this is the color. So I am just taking my brush and really working my clear satin. Oop, little hair. Let me get that off, it's lit. Ooh, I did not want to go. Okay. So this is great. I am not wasting any product. I was gonna have to put a clear coat on this, and I am using what's left in my brush. See how it's shiny? Let's see now. And I painted this with 2 coats this morning. Another piece of lint. And now I am gonna rinse my brush out in the sink, but there was enough product left on this brush to do the whole bottom part of this panel. Ooh, how does glitter? Do you see that? See a piece of glitter? I don't know how that got in there. That's normally when I would say Brooklyn, because she used to glitter everything, but or confetti. You never know. All right, my brush now just simply gonna rinse out. It is drying. This is the back panel that is going to go on that piece there that I've been painting. Yeah, I know. Odd, huh? It's gonna be fantabulous, so enjoy. Hey everybody, so what I'm working on now is that piece that I told you about that I had decoupaged it on with satin clear coat, and now there's a few wrinkles, inevitably. I am taking parchment paper and I'm taking a non-steam iron, meaning no steam. I've got it on the lowest setting, which this just says synthetics. And I'm going to take the parchment and I'm going to take a little bit of finessing. I'm going to go over the part, and what I'm doing is I am reheating. I'm going to scoot this back just a little bit because I'm right on that wonderful rug we have that has bats on it. I am heating up the clear coat underneath, reactivating it, and gliding the iron. I don't want it to sit for too long in any one space because I don't want to burn what I'm doing underneath. And I am ironing it down flat, and what it's doing is, again, reactivating, up this a little bit, reactivating the clear coat decoupage glue. I used it as a glue underneath, and I'm ironing it out. Now, just looking at it, I can tell that it's working. It's not going to be perfect, but it's working. I might even can up my heat just a little bit to silk. I know this is boring because you're just seeing me iron, but I am gingerly going across, no steam, parchment paper, not wax paper. Make sure you don't make that mistake. And I am just reactivating with heat. And I'm getting some of those wrinkles out. It's not going to get them all out. I'm telling you, just within a few minutes time, it's already really looking better. Yeah, not bad at all. So I am going to scoot over the parchment paper, start working on the next section. Again, not all the wrinkles are out, but it's 100% better. And honestly, I was just going to reapply. This is the back of a cabinet. I was just going to reinstall it. with the slight wrinkles I have in it, because being so far away in the back of the cabinet, you will not be able to see all the wrinkles. But this process is so pleasing, actually. Okay, there's a spot there where the nail hole was, so the wood, the backing is sticking up, so I'm going to go over that slightly. I don't want to break or tear the paper I have attached. Okay, I'm going to pull this up. Again, not perfect, but so much better than as it were. I'm going to go over this a little bit more. I'm using some extra push on the spot that's wrinkled right in the center. Again, it really is helping. Okay, I'm coming closer to you. Gonna just keep doing the same thing all the way across, pushing those wrinkles out. And then we're going to put the backing back on the cabinet. This is the whole back piece. And hopefully I will have some really great before and afters to show you. When you're doing this, they do have some really wonderful lightweight irons out there, which are great nowadays for the purpose, but I find an older or heavier iron works best while doing this, because the weight of the iron is really helping push out those wrinkles and crinkles. So see if you can find an old school iron, and if not, just make sure you buy one that is not a steam only. I'm gonna turn this over. Obviously it's pulling up because I've got the parchment paper. Again, it's not perfect, but what it is 100% better than it was. I know I've said that several times, but I can't tell you what a difference this really does make. And sometimes that extra time, this will take me another, half hour to hour in my own time to get this done. But that is the difference of making it really, really pop. Putting those extra touches on your custom pieces. When I say custom, this is not for a client custom. It's for a client that I have not met yet, but it's custom for them because I did it the way I wanted it, but I've treated it if it was a custom order, giving it extra touches, spending extra time, not taking a lot of shortcuts that you can take sometimes. This is almost like when you vacuum. If you get satisfaction out of vacuuming and seeing where you've just cleaned up, this gives you that same satisfaction, ironing out those spots. All right, I am sitting on the piece. I'm trying not to because this piece is actually going to go on. I don't want to get my foot mark on it. Scooting over a little bit. Using the pressure of my body, pushing it down. We're almost done. We've come all the way across. I may go back over some of the wrinkles that were pretty heavy duty. See if I can work on them a little bit more. Man, this gives you satisfaction. Just like when ironing a shirt or a dress, when you can get a really big wrinkle out and look really crisp and clean. Gives you that same vibe. Now I have settled on the heat number 2, which is for silk. It has 2 more higher heat levels, but I think going lower heat And taking your time is much better than burning it. A little bit more over, make the edge just keeps wrinkling up with the parchment paper. Because it was on a roll, turning it this way so it works for me, not against me. And this is the edge piece, so I'm really going to work out some of those air bubbles and wrinkles to the side. We're going to let this cool down after I'm done, and probably for like 2 hours, and then we're going to reattach it to the back of the cabinet. And then we'll find it a lovely home. Someone's going to love this custom piece. I mean, who wouldn't love zebra with a happy color? Like what did I use? See something. I can't think straight right now. It's too much going on. But a happy coastal color with a shocking black and white zebra. I love the contrast. Very rock and roll. Okay. Wow, so much better. I'm going to keep working a little bit on this spot down here. But there you have it. Enjoy!